Hey Queens, it's Pride Week in Copenhagen, so of course we're making a video talking about Copenhagen Pride and 5 ways that it's different than every Pride we've been to in the United States. The first thing we want to point out is that it's in August. Yeah, and a big part of this is, of course, June is Pride Month and people do celebrate in various ways and in some other communities and towns around Denmark, but in Copenhagen, Pride is in August because in June, everybody's busy with graduations and confirmation and all kinds of other things that occur and are celebrated in June. Everybody goes on holiday in July in the beginning of August. And then when everybody kind of returns to the city in late August, it's time to celebrate Pride.
Yeah, it's super fun because it's not only Copenhagen Pride, but it's also the first chance to see everybody that's been away for summer, especially if your summer holidays line up perfectly that you don't see each other for 6 weeks. So it's not only an awesome party for Pride, it's also kind of a reunion for the summer.
Yeah, it's a really cool time of year. There's kind of a buzz around the city and it's nice, and what a perfect way to get everybody back together and celebrate Pride. So I love that it's in August.
It's fantastic. Another difference with Copenhagen Pride and other prides is that in Copenhagen, it's all in the city center. A lot of other cities have their prides at parks or somewhere in the outskirts of town a little bit. I know in Philadelphia, they'd always have it down on the Delaware River waterfront, kind of away from where the bars and the city center was. But here in Copenhagen, the best parties are on the streets radiating out from City Hall, especially on Studiestræde, where a number of the gay bars are, or the old City Hall, where they always have a fantastic party. That's what makes it so much fun, is you're right in the city center, and that's where the main event is.
Yeah, it's really cool whether you march in the parade from Frederiksberg City Hall to Copenhagen City Hall. No matter what, you're going to end up at some point at Pride Square, which is City Hall Square in Copenhagen. And it's just fantastic that it's basically everybody together in one area. There's not a separate party in the gay bar district and then a separate party somewhere else in the city. It's combined. Another thing that's a bit different for Copenhagen Pride compared to a lot of American prides that we've been to is that it really genuinely feels like it's for everybody. And I know this is sometimes debated, especially by LGBTQ people in the US, of who Pride is really for, but I love that in Copenhagen, it really feels like it's for everybody, not just the boys in crop tops and harnesses or a different kind of people that are just sort of subgrouping. It really seems like it's a sense of civic pride for everybody in Denmark, whether they are straight, cishet allies or any sort of group within the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, it's super fun because you literally see people along the sides of it with families and little kids out there. I know one of your old coworkers used to say that his daughter called it the Rainbow Parade. And you can see it too because on the floats going down, it's a number of the big businesses or government agencies and offices have it. And it's everybody out there. It's, again, I love it because it feels like it celebrates everybody and it's taking pride in what Pride is about, which is visibility and acceptance. But it means that only happens when you have everybody out there. And it shows that this is a country and a city full of allies, and so it makes it so beautiful.
Yeah, and I think Americans tend to get into this debate all the time of who Pride is really for, and are businesses just celebrating Pride in order to gain, some money from people in the LGBTQ community. But I really feel like that's kind of left aside here in Copenhagen. And I really think the biggest thing is, I remember when I was growing up, I didn't see things like this in the US. I mean, in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't this kind of thing. So if a company wants to have a rainbow logo for the month of August in Denmark, great, because that's going to actually mean something to somebody. And I remember times when that didn't exist.
And kind of similar to that, another difference here is that it seems less outwardly political, which is kind of funny because at the same time, it's also a very political event. And let me explain a little bit about that. I think it's because you have so much broad acceptance for LGBTQ rights across Denmark. It's a society that's got a lot of feeling of acceptance. And so it doesn't feel like it's a political event that people are going to, because it doesn't really feel like there's anybody on the opposite side of Pride, which is different from a lot of American or other countries where you may see protesters outside of Pride. But at the same time, it is super political. If you look at, there's an entire schedule of events on the week leading up to the big parade, where there's all kinds of panel discussions and workshops and different kinds of events. And we've seen political leaders there, where we've seen the Prime Minister speaking at Pride Square. And in fact, we saw Lars Løkke riding on a bike in front of us shortly after he lost the election in 2019. It's really accessible in that way, and it's a really neat thing to see in that difference, that it can be both political and not political at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that that's really a testament to Danish society and Danish politics, and just overall the fact that in Denmark you have a country where LGBT rights are human rights, and that's just decided. It's not debated by courts and things like that. That's way in the past. Denmark was the first country to have a same-sex union in 1989, and there's been no looking back. And I think that when you reach that level in society, then you free up the chance to have these broader discussions, like the panels and the other things that occur the week before Pride. That's not unique just to Denmark. They do have those kinds of panels in Prides in the US as well. But I think that Denmark really practices what they preach, and because rights are so advanced for LGBTQ people, there's maybe some work to be done still, but it frees up the time to have these discussions and broader topics. And on that note, another thing that is very different compared to the US is, of course, Copenhagen Pride is very Danish. So it celebrates the very Danish ideals of fairness, equality, public debate, and all of the things that are really enshrined and a part of Danish culture. So you get to have all of those things in a place like Pride.
And it also brings out some of the fun sides of Danish culture as well. There's drinking in the streets, there's PDA, there's kind of a general fun atmosphere as we enjoy one of the last weekends of summertime before the fall comes in. So it gets both the serious and kind of the fun side of Danish culture all in the same weekend. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a little bit of organized debauchery, and we really enjoy it. And it's for everybody. And if you want to actually see another video that we have on what it's like to be gay in Denmark versus what it's like to be gay in the US, you can click right here and watch that now. And otherwise, thanks for watching, and happy Pride, everybody.
Hi.